Hello, in this lesson we are going to see how we can use trig ratios to solve for unknown side or unknown angles in a right angle triangle. So this is a 90 degrees. Only if we have 90 degrees, then we could use this license method to solve for the unknown side or unknown angles. And before we start, we need to know how to label this triangle using hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. And before you start it, you must decide which angle you are going to pick in order to label this right angle triangle. And the angle you picked should not be the 90 degrees. So we pick one angle, angle B. Which angle you are going to pick, you are going to see if the angle is given. Then we pick that angle, or no angles other than 90 degrees given, but one angle you want to solve. Then we pick that angle, okay? So we pick angle B, then based on angle B, the angle B has two arms. So AB and BC. These two arms are adjacent side. Adjacent means next to that angle. Next to this angle, there are two adjacent sides, but one side is a longer side, opposite 90 degrees. We call it hypotenuse. And another side, we are going to call it adjacent. And whatever left, we call it opposite. And also opposite side, you will see side AC doesn't have letter B. Side AB and the BC with letter B, it means they are next to angle B and they are adjacent to angle B. So once we label it, before we have used trigonometric table to solve for the unknown side and unknown angles. We have three columns after the degrees. And now on your calculator, there is a trig table built in. So, and these three trig ratio, sine, cosine, and tangent, we call them primary trig ratios. So they are corresponding to the column we used in trig table. But in future, we don't use this trig table anymore. And also you have found out that it's not convenient to find the degrees, angles in more than one have a decimal. Only we can have a whole number because our trig table, we didn't give you the more angles, so only the whole numbers here, so it's not convenient. So now in future, we just, whenever we are going to need opposite or hypotenuse, we just click sine, then the angle, it will give you this ratio. Cosine 1 give you this, tangent 1 give you 0.175. So we could see it. So sine 1, okay, it is backward, okay, sine 1 gave you 0.0174, and this is backward calculator, so 1, then cosine give you 0.998, so this is, and 1 tangent give you 0.0174. So this is a match our trig table. But in future, when we need this opposite or hypotenuse, we just angles, then sine. It will give you opposite or hypotenuse. So in future, we are going to use this sine, cosine, tangent instead of the trig table. So now we are going to practice on using the trig, the sine ratios on your calculator to find the opposite or hypotenuse, the ratios. So 47 degrees. And make sure your calculator is in DEG mode. If we click on it, you will see it's in reading mode. And it's just different units, and it will give you different answer. So before we have 0.0174, now it's 0.84. So if you are in the wrong mode, you will have the wrong answer. So make sure you are in degree mode. And easy way to check if it's right, you could use 4510. That is a slope. Rise over run equals is 1. So if 4510 is 1, you are in the right mode, in degree mode. So 47 sine. And it's 0.7313. It asks you for 3 decimal places. So 371, then we look at the next digit. This is 3 less than 5. Then we round off. We keep 0.731. So from the left, we keep all the numbers. And the number to the right, decide we add 1 to the last digit or not. So this one is 0.731. Because the next digit is 3, then we round it off, 0.731. Then the next one, 3 cosine. So type in, and if your calculator is not backward calculator, you just type in cosine 3. This is 3 cosine, 0.998. The left 3 digits, we keep it, and the right to the last digit is 6. Then we round it up. So 0.9986. The left 3 digit, we are going to keep and make sure that digit after the last digit, the third digit, if it's above 5 or equal to 5, we need to add 1. Then we are going to have 0.998 plus 1 is 9. And the last one, 1045, just now we check it already. Always use 1045 to check your calculator in the right mode or not. So it's just 1.000. That is done. The reason why it is 1, because this is 45 degrees and this is isosceles triangle. So rise over run. And the tangent is rise over run, so it's a slope. Rise over run same, it gave you 1. So, and before we use this one to check opposite or hypotenuse on our trig table to find the angle, and now the calculator, we have the built-in trig table, and you need to know how to use it. There is another button above your sine. It's called sine inverse. And how to get this sine inverse, use your shift button or inverse button on your calculator. So for this one is another one. Okay, so I think it's second, yes. So normally on the top left corner, you will have second, shift, or inverse button. Then you click on it, you will see the sine inverse. So this one, we are going to type in 0.7193, then sine inverse. It gave you 45.996. And this question is ask you to round it to nearest degree. So angle A equals 45.9. Nearest degree means no decimals. So we just read from the left to the right up to the 1 decimal place. Just up to the 1 decimal place. Then because the next digit after the whole number is 9, we are going to add 1. So round it to the nearest degree, give you 46 degrees. So this is backward calculator is 0.7193. Then it is a second, or on your calculator you may have shift or inverse. Normally it should be on the top left of your calculator. It should be on the top left on your calculator. You press it, then it will give you sine inverse. Then you have the answer. This is for backward calculator. If not backward, you just the second shift, inverse and sine. Then you type in the 0.7193 after that. So you need to check which way your calculator will work. Okay, so now we are going to do the next one. We want to solve for the angle. We don't want to see the cosine. Then we are going to use a second column on our trig table, but we don't use it. We use our calculator. The built-in button for this trig table is cosine inverse 0.9994. Then if it's a backward calculator, you type in 0.9994 first, then cosine inverse, second cosine. 0.9994, then cosine inverse is 1.9. So the whole number we only count to the next digit, 1 decimal. Then we round it about 5 or equal to 5, we add 1. Then we have angle B approximately equals to 2 degrees. Then tangent B equals 1, we do the inverse of tan. Then you will have 1 tangent. 1 inverse of tan is 45. So angle B equals 45 degrees. And again, if you want to see which way your calculator works, you use 1, tangent 1, inverse 1 to see if it's 45 degrees, because the ratio rise over run is 1, so opposite or adjacent is 1, then the tangent 45 is 1. So you use inverse tan 1 to check. So you could type in the second, or shift, or inverse tan. Then you put 1 at front or at back to see which one give you 45. So these are 3 examples to test if you know how to use your calculator. Then after that, we know how to use sine angles to find the ratio, opposite over adjacent, hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over adjacent. Then we are going to use this ratio to find the unknown side and the unknown angles. And it's very important that you know which ratio corresponding to which sine, cosine, tangent, which sine, trig function corresponding to which ratio. So sine, cosine, tangent, the first column, second column, and third column. And also you could use the SOH, CAH, TOA to remember it. Soh Cah Toa. This is on our title of today's lesson, Soh Cah Toa. They represent S is sine, the first letter, and the opposite O, hypotenuse H. So SOH is for one formula, sine equals opposite over hypotenuse. CAH, the first letter C, then adjacent over hypotenuse, CAH. Tangent equals opposite over adjacent. So just first letter in your formula, Soh Cah Toa. So now we are going to see example. First thing, name each side for the given angle, opposite side, adjacent side, or hypotenuse, and determine the length of P in figure A, a side UT in figure B, and angle A in figure C. So in this one, we want to find this side. And one angle that is not 90 degrees is given, so we are going to pick this angle and label this triangle. And you have two adjacent sides. The longer side, 90-degree opposite, is hypotenuse. And whatever another side is adjacent. And the third side is opposite. And in this triangle, we need to decide which ratio we are going to use. We have opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, and opposite over adjacent. And this is for sine, this is sine, this is cosine, this is tangent. So the hypotenuse is given. Hypotenuse is given and the angle is given, so means sine 35, cosine 35, and tangent 35, we know them. And you want to find adjacent side. So adjacent side is unknown. Then we want to use a formula that with two given, one unknown. And in these three ratios, we have only the second one. We have two given, one unknown. Then we are going to pick this second ratio. So that is cosine. Cosine, then the angle we picked must be not 90 degrees. Equals adjacent is over hypotenuse. Then we sub in adjacent is P. The hypotenuse is 7. So P is at numerator. In order to solve this one, we could just times 7 to other side. Or we could always use a cross multiply. So cosine 35 divided by 1. Then it works all the time. Cross multiply P times 1 give you 7 times cosine 35 degrees. And if your calculator is a regular calculator, you just type in 7 times cosine 35. If your calculator is backward calculator, then you need to type in 7 times 35, then cosine, then equals. So 7 times, so we need to change it to first. 7 times 35 cosine, then equals 5.734. So we have P equals 5.734. So the given information, all no decimals, we could round it to no decimal place is 6. Then it's done. 6 feet. All the question will tell you how many decimal places you need to keep. Most of the time, I want you to keep 2 decimal places, so we could round it to 5.7. The next digit after the second digit is 4 less than 5, it will be round off. So 5.73 feet. So this is how we solve a right angle triangle unknown side by using the ratios, so sine, cosine, tangent. Before we check our trig table, check adjacent or hypotenuse was 35 degrees corresponding to, then after that we times sub in and times with 7. Now we could use just cosine 35, get the ratio right away. Then we are going to practice more. Figure B, we want to find the UT side, the x. So this one, we want to use a given angle that is not 90 degrees to label this triangle. So the longer side is always hypotenuse. Then for the angle U, you have two unknown sides. So one is hypotenuse, another one is adjacent. The adjacent means next to angle we picked. Then whatever left is opposite. Then we are going to write the ratios out. So is sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and the tangent equals opposite over adjacent. Soh Cah Toa. Then because the angle is given, so all the sine, cosine, tangent, 62 are given. Then adjacent side is given. We want to find hypotenuse. Then we see which ratio we have two given, one unknown. It's the second one again. So this one will be cosine. So it's cosine 62 degrees equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Subbing the adjacent is 2.8. Hypotenuse is x. Then we use a cross multiply again. Cosine 62 divided by 1. Now x times cosine 62 equals 1 times 2.8. So x times cosine 62 equals 1 times 2.8. Then we want to solve for the cosine. For the x, we need to move the cosine 62 to other side, do the opposite operation. X cosine 62, no operation sign means multiply. So opposite of multiplication is division. We divided cosine 62 to both sides. Then we get the answer for x. And again, for regular calculator, it's just 1 times 2.8 divided by cosine 62. And if it's backward calculator, you are going to do 62 first, then cosine. Backward calculator will be divided by 62, then cosine. So you need to make sure you know what type of calculator you have. So 1 times 2.8 divided by 62 cosine, then equals 5.964. Then if we want to keep it to 2 decimal places, from the left to right, we stop at 2 decimal places, we copy whatever on the left of the 2 decimal place, then check to the right what number it is. If it's 4 less than 5, then round off. 64 meter. So that is for question B. Then question C. Question C, you will see we don't have any. It asks you to solve for one of the angle. We are going to just solve for this angle. It didn't give you the angle, so just solve for this one. Angle A. So this one, no other angles than 90 degrees is given. Then we want to solve for angle A. We are going to pick angle A to label this triangle. So we have the two adjacent sides. One is 90 degrees, opposite is hypotenuse. And another adjacent side, we label it adjacent. And whatever left is opposite. So we are going to write Soh Cah Toa out again. Then we are going to see, okay, this time angle not given, so sine, cosine, tangent not given, but we have two sides given, adjacent and hypotenuse. And we don't have the angle given, we want to find the angle. Then you will see, again, CAH is given. So we are going to use this one, cosine angle A equals adjacent over hypotenuse equals 10.3 over 12.3. Then angle A, we move the cosine to other side. Only when you are solving for angle, you are going to do the inverse. So 10.3 or 12.3. So before we get these ratios and check the adjacent over hypotenuse on the trig table to find the angle. And now we are going to use a calculator to find. So 10.3 divided by 12.3 equals, then we are going to do the second cosine. It's 30.133. So angle A equals 30. So 33.133. If two decimal places, then angle A approximately 33.13 degrees, because the next one is 3 round off. So it's not always you are going to have cosine, it just happens to the three questions, all of them are cosine. So now we are going to see the next one. So this one is try this question. It asks you to solve a triangle. Solve a triangle means you are going to determine all unknown sides and unknown angles. Solve triangle EFG where angle G is 90 degrees. So we draw the 90 degrees first. Then angle E is 17 degrees. So this one is 17 degrees. And this is E, this is F. And here the small letter F means the opposite side of angle F. So opposite side of G, we use small letter G. Opposite side of angle F, we use small letter F. Opposite side of angle E, we use small letter E. So in this one, we have side F is given, angle E is given, angle G is given. We have three things given, but we have three unknown. We don't have angle F, we don't have angle G, we don't have angle E. So in this question, angle E is given, that is not 90 degrees. We are going to use this angle E to label this triangle. So opposite side of 90 degrees is hypotenuse. And another side of angle E is adjacent. Whatever left is opposite. after that, we want to solve for the first unknown, the easiest one, angle F. We could use 180 degrees, take away angle G, take away angle E, because the sum of the interior angles is 180. So 180 degrees, take away 90, take away 17 degrees, it gives you 73 degrees. Then after that, we are going to find the unknown side. And for such question, we need to focus on one unknown first. So we want to solve for side E first, okay? We ignore the G. Otherwise, it will hard to pick which ratio. So Soh Cah Toa, we are going to write it here because angle is given, so sine 17, cosine 17, tangent 17 all given, and adjacent given. And we want to find the E is opposite. Then you will see only one ratio. You have two given, one unknown. Then we could solve for that unknown, okay? So tan 17 degrees, TOH represent tan equals opposite over adjacent. Then opposite divided by adjacent. And then we sub in, that is E divided by 9.0. Then we are going to do the cross multiply. So E times 1 equals 9 times 10, 17. So E times 1 is E equals 9.0 times 10, 17. Then use your calculator to find out the answer, 17 degrees. So 9 times, this one is not inverse, so 9 times 17, 10, that equals is 2.75. So E equals 2.75. If your final answer, we want to keep two decimal places, then the middle we need to keep more. So 7515 and 76. So let me just stop here. Then after that, you could have two methods to find the side G. One is we could do like solve for G, then we have Soh Cah Toa. Soh Cah Toa, then we are going to have the sine, cosine, tangent 17 all given, adjacent given, then we want to find a hypotenuse. Then you will see, okay, only CAH, we have two given and one unknown. Now we have cosine, 17 degrees equals adjacent over hypotenuse is G. Then we do the cross multiply. It will give you G times cosine 17. Equals 9.0 times 1. Then bring the cosine 17 degrees to both sides. To other side will be opposite operation. Then you will have G equals 9 divided by cosine 17. So 9 divided by 17 cosine, then equals is 9.411. Now we solved all the three unknowns. So this side is 9.411. If we round it to two decimal places, it will be 9.41 because the next digit after the second decimal is 1, so it's less than 5 to round off. And this one, if we round it to two decimal places, it will be 2.75. The next digit is 1, so we round it off. So we have all these three unknown solved. Angle F is 73 degrees. Set E is 2.75. And G is 9.41. And check it. Yes, it makes sense. G is a longer side. It should be 9.41. And 17 degrees of this side is 2.75. Is smallest side, and this one 73 degrees opposite is 9.0. So the smallest angle corresponding to the shortest side, and the largest angle corresponding to the longest side. So this is we use all the trig ratios. And another way you can find the G is you could use a Pythagorean theorem. So hypotenuse squared. So this is another method I will show you here. So hypotenuse squared equals other side opposite squared plus the adjacent side squared. So this is just another method. Then equals opposite side is 2.75 squared. Then the given adjacent side is 9.0 squared. Then you square root these two, you will have hypotenuse G equals square root of this one. And use your calculator, you will find out it is 9.411. Then it's done. Okay. So in this question, if you see solve a triangle, it means you solve for all the unknown side, three unknowns, three given. Then based on the given, the first thing you want to find is angle, because this is the easiest way. Three angles add together is 180. You take away these two, then you will find the angle left. Then based on one side you want to find, we are going to investigate, and we give the given a tick and unknown a question mark. Then we are looking for one formula with two givens, one unknown. In one equation we could only have one unknown, then we can solve. We didn't pick these two because we want to solve for opposite. And when we want to solve for hypotenuse, then you will see is a CAH. Two givens, one unknown. In one equation you have three things, two given, one unknown, we can solve it. Okay? So remember the formula. Soh Cah Toa represents sine equals opposite over hypotenuse, cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent equals opposite over adjacent. Thanks for watching.